You know, if you've been working the soil for any length of time, you already know that keeping a vegetable garden healthy, well, it's a constant balancing act. Today, we're going to talk about a simple tool you probably already have sitting right there in your bathroom cabinet. I'm talking about hydrogen peroxide. But listen, we're going to talk about it a lot differently than you might have heard before. I'm going to share some tried and true, tested, neighborly wisdom on exactly how to use it vegetable by vegetable. So let's dive right in, shall we? You've probably seen those articles or guides giving you one generic, one-size-fits-all hydrogen peroxide ratio for your entire garden. And honestly, that is exactly why so many well-meaning gardeners end up accidentally burning their leaves or just outright damaging their roots. The real truth is, what saves a cucumber plant can absolutely devastate a pepper plant at that exact same concentration. But today is different. We're looking at precise, vegetable-specific treatments for 8 entirely different crops. No guesswork here. We're going to cover everything from leafy greens to squash, but I've got to tell you, I have saved the absolute best for last. The 8th vegetable on our list today is one where hydrogen peroxide produces the single most dramatic, visible result in the entire garden. Seriously, it treats 3 devastating diseases simultaneously with just one simple solution. I'm not going to give away the name just yet, but definitely stick around because it's going to completely change your harvest this year. Now, before we look at that first vegetable, there are 4 non-negotiable golden rules we absolutely have to establish. You can consider these the firm foundation for everything that follows. Number 1, always, and I mean always, use 3% pharmacy-grade hydrogen peroxide. Never use the concentrated food-grade stuff on your living plants. Number 2, always dilute it. Never, ever apply it straight out of the bottle. Number 3, always spray in the early morning, never during the heat of the midday sun. And number 4, always test just one leaf and wait 24 hours before treating the whole plant. These rules are strict and they apply to every single vegetable we're about to cover. All right, let's start with cucumbers. If you grow them, you know their biggest battle is powdery mildew. Those large, sprawling leaves just create this humid little microclimate that fungal spores absolutely love. Left to its own devices, it'll shut down your whole plant in about 2 weeks flat. But hydrogen peroxide, it actually kills those spores on contact. For cucumbers, the exact ratio is 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide to 9 parts clean water. You're going to want to apply this every 4 to 5 days during an active infection. And here's exactly how you want to apply it. You go ahead and mix up that 1 to 9 ratio. Then you get out there in that nice, cool, early morning air. The absolutely crucial point here is coverage. You really must spray thoroughly, making sure you coat the undersides of the leaves, because that is exactly where the mildew loves to hide out. It oxidizes those fungal cell membranes right then and there, and the best part, it leaves absolutely 0 residue behind. But here is your unique warning, specifically for cucumbers. Never spray the open flowers or the developing fruit. That delicate flower tissue is highly sensitive, and spraying it can completely ruin your pollination. So just cup your hand gently over the flowers as you spray the leaves, sort of like a little shield. If you follow this carefully, you are going to be harvesting crisp, clean, healthy cucumbers long after your neighbor's vines have withered away. Next up, we have lettuce and leafy greens, things like spinach and kale. Now, these are the most delicate plants on our list today, so they require the absolute weakest dilution of all. We use a 1 to 20 ratio here. This highly diluted mix is just perfect for combating damping off in your young seedlings and root rot in those constantly moist garden beds. For these greens, you want to apply it as a very fine mist, or honestly, even better, as a gentle soil drench right around the base of the plant. You do have to be really careful here, though. These greens are extremely sensitive to oxidative stress. Anything stronger than that 1 to 20 ratio is going to cause immediate, visible brown tip burn within a matter of hours. So, when in doubt, always go weaker. Treat them gently, and you'll prevent the rot that so often ruins a perfectly good salad bed. Oh, and just a quick reminder for you, as well as these treatments work, the most dramatic transformation in this entire guide is still coming up at the end, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's move on to peppers. Peppers face a seriously tough enemy out there, bacterial leaf spot. Most natural treatments just completely fail to stop it. But the oxidative burst of hydrogen peroxide actually destroys those bacterial membranes right on contact. So for a foliar spray on your peppers, you're going to use a 1 to 10 ratio every 3 to 4 days. And if you happen to have a young pepper plant that's suffering from transplant shock, a much weaker 1 to 30 root drench will flood the soil with fresh oxygen and really stimulate some nice new root growth. But there is a specific catch for peppers. Never spray them when they are drought stressed. They become incredibly sensitive to oxidative damage when they are thirsty. So always make sure to water your pepper plants thoroughly the evening before you treat them. Do this right, and you are going to be amazed at just how fast those roots recover from transplant shock and start pushing out vigorous new growth. Now, let's look a little below the surface at garlic and onions. Their biggest threat is devastating fungal storage rot. We're talking white rot and neck rot that can completely ruin your harvest even after you've pulled it out of the ground. We attack this in two parts. First, right before planting, you actually soak the cloves or sets in a strong 1-to-1 ratio of peroxide and water. Then, later during the growing season, you apply a 1-to-10 soil drench just once a month to kill off those soil-borne fungi before they can even reach the bulbs. But please, you've got to heed this warning: never soak those clothes for longer than 30 minutes. Extended exposure will damage the growing tip and totally ruin your germination. Always rinse them immediately with plain water afterwards. Follow this little trick, and you'll have beautiful, firm bulbs protected all winter long in storage. And hey, keep in mind we are getting closer and closer to that miracle treatment at the end of this explainer. Moving on to beans and peas. In wet seasons, these incredibly productive legumes are just highly vulnerable to root rot. And because of their nitrogen-fixing root nodules, man, they go down fast. We manage this directly right in the soil. You use a very weak 1-to-30 drench monthly as a preventative measure. But if you already see the yellowing and wilting of active root rot, you need to step up to a stronger 1-to-10 soil drench and apply that weekly for 3 weeks. But here is the critical rule for your legumes. Do not spray the foliage while they are flowering. Doing so disrupts the delicate pollination process, and it will absolutely ruin your pod set. Stick strictly to the soil drench. If you catch the rot early enough, it's just wonderful to watch. Those yellowing, wilting plants can completely recover their productivity in just about 10 days. Next up are the brassicas, so that's your cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. Now, they face a nasty double threat from clubroot in the soil and black rot up on the leaves. For clubroot prevention, you'll use a 1-to-10 soil drench at planting and then monthly thereafter. For black rot, which tends to spread through rain splash during wet weather, you'll use that exact same 1-to-10 ratio, but as a foliar spray every 5 days. That'll stop the bacteria from jumping from plant to plant. The main thing to remember with brassicas is that treating the soil is a marathon, not a sprint. You really have to commit to that monthly soil drenching. One single application is just not going to eliminate the clubroot pathogens. But if you stick with it, you'll be cutting perfectly clean, massive heads of broccoli and cabbage. All right, we have just one more vegetable to cover, and then it is finally time for the big reveal. Let's talk about squash and zucchini. Now, these vines are incredibly productive. We all know that. But they are absolute magnets for powdery mildew and the dreaded squash vine borer. To fight the mildew, use a 1-to-9 foliar spray twice a week, starting right in midsummer. To deter the vine borer moths from laying their eggs, apply a 1-to-20 soil drench right around the base of the plant weekly through July and August. It keeps the soil oxygen levels high, which is something those pests absolutely hate. Now, squash flowers might be large, but they are extremely delicate, and our bees really need them. You must only spray in the very early morning before those flowers open, or in the evening after they've closed for the day. You've got to protect those flowers. Okay, we have covered 7 vegetables so far. What comes next is the most impressive, genuinely transformative result you will ever see in your garden. The 8th vegetable is the potato. Potatoes face a terrible enemy called late blight. This isn't just some common garden nuisance. This is the most devastating agricultural disease in history. It literally caused the Irish famine in the 1840s, and it still wipes out home potato crops globally every single wet season. But hydrogen peroxide doesn't just manage late blight, it practically acts as a miracle prevention, while simultaneously controlling 2 other major diseases, scab and blackleg. Let's break down exactly how this works, because the precision here is really what saves the crop. The very moment blight weather hits, those warm, humid nights, you apply a 1-to-9 foliar spray every 5 days. This kills the blight spores right on contact and prevents their explosive spread. At the exact same time, to deal with scab and blackleg, you apply a 1-to-10 soil drench monthly, starting from planting right up to canopy closure. This acidifies the soil just enough to suppress the scab bacteria and creates an oxygen-rich environment that stops blackleg rot right in its tracks. The end result? Incredibly clean skins and vibrant, healthy foliage. And you know what's truly wonderful about all of this? A simple, standard bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide from your local pharmacy costs what, about $2? When properly diluted, that $2 bottle provides an entire season of protection for your potato crop. No expensive chemical fungicides, just clean, healthy potatoes ready for the root cellar. Now, before you grab a spray bottle and head out to the garden, I really need to give you a very serious warning. Do not fall into the trap of overuse. Hydrogen peroxide is a powerful oxidizer. If you drench your soil too frequently, you won't just kill the pathogens, you will completely sterilize your soil, wiping out the beneficial bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi that your plants absolutely rely on. And you know what that does? It causes nutrient deficiencies that look identically bad to the diseases you were trying to cure in the first place. You must strictly wait a minimum of 5 to 7 days between any soil drench applications to let that good biology recover. Use it as a precision tool, not a daily habit. Please, do yourself a favor and save this explainer. Bookmark it so you can return to these exact ratios whenever a specific problem pops up in your garden. And hey, if you found this neighborly advice helpful, please like and subscribe. And leave a comment below. I'd love to know, which vegetable are you going to treat first? I read every single one. Remember, the ultimate goal of a great gardener isn't to fight the garden's biology. It's to work in harmony with it. Happy growing, everyone, and take good care of that soil.